Hello and welcome back. Today I want to do hopefully quite a short update video, really just talking about the developments that are becoming more and more apparent in the run up to this the event, the shift between the 3D Earth and the 5D Earth. Now, as we spoke of before, there's going to be a lot of noticeable, quite dramatic events that take place on the Earth as we know it at the moment, as Gaia transitions more fully. I do believe it's it's a phased thing. I think that the 5D Earth exists. It exists already fully created and active in a future timeline, and I believe that for a number of years, perhaps from 2012, perhaps from earlier, this shift has been taking place, and all the energetics of it. There'll be certain souls and energies that have transitioned there in advance, and they are setting up frameworks and testing things out and working with Gaia in a major way. It's not like tiny souls just moving over and test living there. It's the framework, it's the river and skies and seas and oceans and land, and the animal life, the flora and fauna. All these things have to be put in place, much as, as they say in the Bible, when God created the earth over 7 days or whatever, there was a lot of things. There's a framework has to be built, and Gaia has to transition, and the energies have to be correct for it to fully take place. As I've said before, we don't know how long this is going to take, but there will be some clues. There are a lot of clues written in the Bible about this time. It was foreseen, and warnings were given to man to treasure and take care of the earth. It's my belief that a lot of people that have vanished from the earth may in fact be living and thriving on the new earth, like certain Native American tribes that were in the myths of history, have been said to have just crossed a bridge and disappeared from this earth. And I think that those tribes could be living on the new earth. I think that the Mayans, they transitioned and disappeared, super large numbers. One time in history, they were all living and thriving here on earth as we know it, and then they seem to have vanished, and there's nothing to say they didn't in fact go to the 5D earth as well. These people were very spiritual, and had great knowledge. There's many races from our past who've done wonderful things that we can't even do in this day and age, and they're vanished. And I do think that there's a lot of that type of thing going on. I also believe, and this could just be me, this is just my own personal viewpoint, sometimes when there appears to be terrible tragedies, when large numbers of people are seemingly are killed in terrible tragedies, I think that it's possible those souls are gone off to 5D. The good people, often they say the good die young. I think that a lot of good people are already there, and whenever I see terrible tragedies where hundreds or thousands of people die, it crosses my mind that they might just have been moved off this earth onto another earth, and that's my hope, because we don't want to have these terrible tragedies. Now, what is it that's making me think and say these different things? Well, you just have to open a newspaper, switch on your television, and my goodness, what's happening at the moment is like nothing that's ever happened before. We've got today I turned on the television and all the talk is of the poles melting and the oceans rising by huge amounts that would devastate many countries, definitely impact every living soul on this planet, and some places would become almost unlivable. Certainly big chunks of many lands are going to be unusable. They'll be sinking back into the ocean, and that's just today, here in 2020. What's going to happen in 2030 or 2040? Are the oceans going to rise more? Are all the polar ice caps going to melt? And the population will be, forced up into all the high places. And many people, deaths and a destruction of a lot of our technologies and systems that are in place. Really, it's not like science fiction, is it? It's not so far-fetched when science is telling us in this day and age that maybe within the next decade the oceans are going to rise a metre globally as a minimum, and that's if we are able to halt the damage that we're doing to the planet. So these are very worrying trends. There's also the worrying plague that started in China, which is wiping out, it's only in its infancy, but there is a real threat that plague will go global and will take many souls with it. That's kind of familiar to some of the things that have been foretold in the Bible about the end days of the planet. We all know about the unprecedented bushfires in Australia, in the Amazon, in the US. There are bushfires wiping out, huge areas of land, just making it unlivable, killing off species, causing terrible upheaval and distress and upset, and taking lives. We're looking at volcanoes erupting on the planet. It's almost weekly. There was two major volcanoes erupted, causing deaths, causing people to flee the areas, causing destruction of the areas, homes, lives, animals, contaminating the air, having impact out, further out from the actual site of the volcano, changing the landscape. And that was in a couple of weeks apart, these two volcanoes. There's been major earthquakes, killing thousands of people, impacting lives again, destroying homes. It feels very biblical to me. This has all happened sort of, in the last 28 days or something. There's flood, fire, famine, which is almost a permanent feature in certain countries, but famine is definitely going on at the moment because of the strange impact on our weather globally. Everyone's having either very, very hot, very, very cold. It's affecting the natural crops of the different areas. It's affecting the livelihoods, businesses, how people are living their day-to-day lives. And when you combine that with the wars that are taking place, it's all very alarming and scary. And every time I see any one of these things, I think, it's another sign. That's another major devastating situation that's hitting the planet, that goes hand in hand with these, what was foretold for the shift in the event, how the 3D world will really face destruction, when the 5D shift completes. The people left on Earth, will just face this type of thing, and it's happening now. There's flooding. I live in the UK. It's not really known for devastating floods, but this year there's been record-breaking floods, and even in the Midlands, I'm not near a coastal town, there was really traumatic flooding took place where I live. Half an hour in every direction of where I'm living at the moment, there was floods that were wiping out hundreds of homes. There was a very old dam that started to break and could have killed thousands of people, wiped out, just washed away all these different homes, and real danger of that happening. I don't know if it's out the woods yet. They're setting about doing, remedial work, trying to patch up the dam and see how to prevent future problems. But we've got coastal flooding happening all over the place, and cliff erosion and things like that. Really, it's kind of, you just wonder, nothing could surprise you what's going to happen next. Now, I had a quick look into the Bible, because whenever I see things like that, I think, gosh, it feels very biblical. And I was reading about the Four Horsemen, and I think the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse were to signal the end of days. It was kind of taken from the viewpoint of punishment and things. I don't take that viewpoint myself. I just think that it's a consequence of this earth being so badly damaged by human occupation that we've spoiled it for ourselves. We've created every problem we're facing. People don't have to be starving to death. There's enough food in the world. The ice caps don't need to be melting. We're causing that ourselves. We don't have to be killing each other. That's again man-made problems. All the children with asthma and terrible poisoning and things we put in our foods. We are creating our own doom through our actions. Unfortunately, it's not the everyday people that are doing these things. Most normal people are living, with a great deal of respect for the earth and for themselves. But it's the people in charge. They're making decisions that are impacting, all the men and women on the planet. These dictators and power-hungry men, some women, but I think it's men, they're making decisions and choices that are just directly creating these natural disasters, killing people, starving people, and causing us all to fall into despair. When I had a look at the prophecy of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, many people on the earth will die as a result of multiple catastrophes. Well, I think that's happening already. That's begun. That's definitely begun. It's never been like this, and in all the years I've been alive, I've never seen so many catastrophes happening almost daily. The Four Horsemen, the first horseman was supposed to ride a white horse, was known as the White Rider, and he carried plague. Well, there's plague. There is plague. We have a plague starting in China. The second horseman was the horseman of war. He rode a red horse, and his task was to take peace from the earth, that men would slay one another. Well, that's happening in every country in the land. Even relatively peaceful countries are being infiltrated by warmongering peoples who, in the name of God, are killing others, killing total innocents, killing women and children, babies and elderly, and anyone. That man will slay one another. It's just awful. I can't believe that in this day and age, war is still something that's a problem. It's terribly tragic and sad that's where we're at after all the things we've learned and the improvements we've made in the world. We've still got massive problems with one tribe trying to eradicate another in the most brutal, cruel, horrible ways possible. It's just awful. The third horse is the black horse. That's the horse of famine. And when you read the description in Wikipedia, there's all different interpretations of this, and in it talks about the famine being caused due to excessive taxation by the leaders, people being taxing the oil and the wheat. It's all done in biblical terms, but because they're taxing everything that's necessary for life. They're causing the poor to die of famine. And the fourth horse is called the pale horse, and it represents death in all its forms, and it kills with sword, famine, pestilence, and by wild beasts of the earth. I don't know if the wild beasts of the earth are us. Sometimes it feels that way, doesn't it? It's like some people are animals. They're definitely coming from an animal mindset of kill or be killed, and all these things that we're foretold in the Bible. I can only speak for what I know. I don't know all the other religions, but I'm sure every religion has its own version of these prophecies. It does feel as if it's already begun, and I hope that it doesn't. I hope not to be around for too much longer in this chaos. I hope we can heed the warnings and make changes and live in peace with one another. I hope that that people will take the blinkers off and stop ignoring the instant karma of their actions, how they treat one another. It definitely, every individual can play a role in slowing down, halting, helping, minimising these big problems that are happening. We have to pull together, we have to work with one another, we have to walk a different path to what's happening on this earth. I feel like we're losing the battle slightly, but it may just be that it's necessary to go through this darkness so that we can so that the earth can be freed from what's being done to it, because it's like torture, isn't it, for Gaia? She's here, this beautiful, loving entity, and she created the earth for humans to experience life here and all the wonderful things that it has to offer. It's all been provided for us, and we are destroying it. We're mining and fracking and bombing and nuclear bombs and wars and awful things. We're just parasites on the earth at the moment, doing terrible things to her with all the toxic pollution, the chemicals, all the man-made nasty things that exist in the world. Is destroying the earth and her whole ecosystem, her creatures who are as valuable to the earth as we are. We're part of the life on earth. We're not the sum total of it. All these animals that are going into extinction because we're poisoning the oceans and things like that. So it's dark days indeed. Someone was asking, did I think it was real? Did I think it was happening? Me personally, yes, I do think it is real. I think that there is going to be a shift. I think it's begun. I think in the future timeline is already complete, and the earth has moved on, and the shell of the old earth is really just completing its destruction. I think that along the line, I don't know how many years, but anyone left on this earth is facing war and famine and flood and fire and earthquakes, and not a very nice situation. It has definitely, as far as I'm concerned, it's begun, because I can see it every single day. I'm trying not to fall into some sort of negative fear-based thing. I'm trying to see it in the positive light that it is a symptom that that it's the ending of something, a very dark period on the earth, and it will signal a new beginning for us all, with lessons learned, and people loving one another instead of killing one another. And I'll update you as I can see anything developing, any signs of anything. But questions were being asked of me, and I thought I'll make an update video. And also, as I say, even in the last 28 days, we've had volcanoes, earthquakes, fires, floods, famine, plague, war. Jeez. These are happening now. It's not crazy talk here. It's happening. So, just prepare yourself as best you can. Try and make changes in your own life that will, if it can't, do whatever you can to help bring more light down onto the earth, to live in a more holistic way, a more eco-friendly way. Try and make choices and decisions from love and not from fear, and try and have faith, because I think that's one of the big lessons that come at this time, is about having a faith in a higher purpose to it all, and a better future for us all. I don't want this to depress or alarm people, but I think it is very urgent for us all to take steps on a personal level, to not be part of the problem, to be part of the solution, to pay heed to the warnings we're being given. This is a chance. This is it. We're in the nub of it. Everyone has to do their bit to make the earth, a better place in the short term, and try and hold the faith and pull down the light and anchor it, and do what we can to retain the light on the earth in these dark and troubled times. I pray for everyone that's been affected by these dramas. I pray they're all safe and well, and that any souls that have been lost where in fact they've just been moved on to the 5D earth, and they are living far away from all these troubled times. That's what we've got to hold on to. That's where we're all heading. And I wish for you all to take this as a spur to get yourself to start looking at what you're doing. Are you contributing to the problem? Are you helping the problems? Are you coming from fear? Are you coming from love? Try and hold the space. That's the term they use. Try and hold the space where you are. Try and help those you couldn't help that are impacted in your own area, and try and be part of a sort of light workers movement of people who are helping this transition take place with the least amount of pain and suffering to all the unawake people on the earth. Okay, I'm sorry. I hope that doesn't, cause you any distress. But I just had to sort of wave a red flag and flag up that this is an issue. It is taking place. There's things happening at the moment. It is affecting every individual on the planet, and that we have to step up now. It's a kind of call. It's a call to the light workers to step up and do everything you can to channel the light into the earth, to be a beacon of love in the world where there's a lot of dark corners being shaken free, the negativity being released out into the world, so that the earth can rise up and transition. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope to be giving you a happier update at some point, when I start to see signs of anything more encouraging going on. I'm happy. Please comment. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm being alarmist, I don't think I am, but I do appreciate your viewpoint, and any suggestions and comments anyone might have for what we're supposed to all be doing at this time, because it's a brand new situation. It's never happened before, so we're all just feeling our way forward here. Okay, I'm going to send you much love and many blessings, and let's all pull together now and do what we can to help these situations as they spring up around us. Okay, God bless. I'll speak to you again soon.